Welcome to Your Mac Life for Wednesday, November 28th, the last Wednesday of November, the 1 month, less than 1 month before Christmas. I'm Shawn King.
I'm Melissa King.
Thank you guys very much for joining us here on the show, 1196 show number. On tonight's show, we'll talk to our friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. Jim had his iPhone review he posted up a couple weeks ago on The Loop at loopinsight.com. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Apple's holiday video, the idea of discoverability, and then in our starting point photography segment, we're going to talk about more travel photography tips, specific things you can use when you go traveling. Thanks very much to the nice folks at Zag, who are prize sponsors of our trip. As of next week's show, or December 5th, I believe, we're going to start giving away Zag products. They are a technology moves fast, but life moves faster at Zag. They create products to keep up with you, to make your life truly mobile. On tonight's show, we've got our last copy of Clean My Mac version 10 from the nice folks at MacPaw, cleanmymac.com. We have one other prize to give away too. Did we give away Lonely Planet guidebook this month yet?
I don't think so. Not for November.
Not for November?
Mm-mm.
All right, we'll do that on tonight's show too. Someone remind me before we get out of here. As I said, Christmas is less than a month away. It feels weird because we didn't have a North American Christmas last year. Melissa and I and Rory were in Australia last year. So this time last year, I wasn't even in a Christmas headspace. We didn't put up any lights. We didn't get a tree. We didn't do any of that kind of stuff because we knew that on December 8th, we were leaving for Australia. So this will be our first North American Christmas together. And
That's right.
When you were a kid, you said you didn't have Christmas trees, pine Christmas trees.
Oh, we had Christmas trees, but they were fake trees.
Fake trees.
Mm-hmm.
When did you put your tree up when you were a kid?
I don't remember. I was always at my grandma's.
Ours had to be up by December 1st.
Yeah, your mum was all...
Whatever the weekend around December 1st was, we had to have a tree then. We always had to buy it from the local parking lot kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was living on the farm in Nova Scotia, we just went to our own property and cut down a tree.
Mm-hmm. You could do that here.
Really?
We could go up and find a tree and cut it down.
Legally?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what I'm talking. No. The funniest one I ever did was when we were in Connecticut, and we went with David Pogue and his wife and their 3 kids to cut down a tree. And they literally gave you a little hacksaw. And the Pogues got into a horrendous fight over which tree to pick. Oh. It was an ugly fight. I'm standing there like, why are they fighting in front of us? Why are they?
But it's Christmas.
Exactly. And basically they were fighting over the size of the tree.
I think the funniest experience I've ever had, my dear friend Giddy, beautiful home, and we would go and we'd pick out the tree for Wits End. Christmas is very important to this family. We picked out one year. We picked the biggest, most magnificent tree, but then we went back to the house and tried to get it through the door.
Didn't fit. Yeah.
It was hilarious. Yeah. We were hysterical. And then when we got it in, we actually had to chop off the top of it. It was just a hilarious experience.
It's very odd. Amazon is now selling live trees.
Oh.
Don't do that.
No. Oh, God. What, to be delivered to your door?
Delivered.
Okay.
No, not okay. Not okay. There's nobody in North America who should get an Amazon tree.
Oh, that's just really awful.
Because if Amazon delivers, it means you're close enough to some place where you can go out to either it's the Boy Scouts have got
the Boy Scouts do it.
Set up in the local supermarkets like they do here. It could be just Joe Blow on the side of the road.
Yeah,
just go get it, or go to a place where you cut the tree down yourself.
That's what it should be. That's what you do. There's a guy up here in Roberts Creek that we'll go to, and you wander around his property and you pick out your tree and people are gathered and there's music and there's hot wine, mulled wine and
The
that sort
funniest
of
thing was for my mom, because she was so picky about her tree. But when you buy the tree in the parking lot, they're already wrapped up. And so we would bring this thing home and unwrap it. And if the tree wasn't what my mom wanted it to be, she'd bring it back. And I remember many a time just appalled at my mother bringing this tree back because one side of it was bare or whatever. Just turn it around, Mom, and
yeah,
put
but
it up
good
against
for
the back.
her. She wanted a perfect tree.
And this is where I learned this from. Is my mother would take the tree back to the place and go, this tree isn't good enough. The guy would like, lady, we can't take the tree back. No, and I remember mental image of my mom, 6'1", 230 pounds, and black. Okay, so you have this very large black woman who forceful. She wasn't yelling, she wouldn't curse or anything else like that, but she was going to get her way. And my mom, I remember one time my mom saying, look, we're going to argue. Here's how this is going to go. We're going to argue about it. You're going to eventually give me the tree I want just to get rid of me. So let's just cut out the middleman and just give me the tree I want.
You shouldn't pre-wrap them, though. That's all.
Well, they kind of have to because that's how they transport them. That's how they, they get them around.
Right.
But yeah, Mom should have just, because she needed the perfect tree. Because for Mom, that tree was oftentimes the only thing she could give us. And that tree, Mom's trees were magnificent. Like you, and I said this to her a couple days ago, and she said, you did it too. My mom would put the tinsel on individually. And you said you do that too.
I do.
Individual pieces of tinsel.
You mean the beautiful long strands?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
One at a time.
But I only put them at the top, at the very top.
Mm-hmm. Why only
I
at
don't
the top?
come. Well, first of all, your cats eat that stuff.
True.
So I started to just put it up at the top. But it's supposed to be like icicles, right? Yeah. Yeah.
We were never allowed as kids to put anything on the tree. We all had our one Christmas bauble that was usually had a baby picture of us in the middle of it. We could put that on, and then we could hand Mom ornaments, and she would tell us what color she wanted. So I need a red one.
Yeah.
We would get a red one, a blue one, a green one, but we were never allowed to put them on ourselves.
No, you wouldn't have done it right.
Exactly. Which is hilarious to me. So what we're going to do in the next few shows, we're going to talk about gift giving. I think it gets so much harder now when you're trying to buy gifts for a significant other or a certain age group. I'm guessing like after 30, it gets really, really hard to find things that somebody wants. So because most of our audience is of that age group, so we're going to try to give you some ideas. We want ideas from you guys too. What do you think make good gifts for people of various age groups? Not kids. Kids get all the stuff. They get all kinds of stuff. Don't worry about kids. What about adults? One of the things that I've always thought was a great gift was for men, and this is something that men can give men, or women can give men, significant others can give husbands. Do a little bit of research, especially if you live in a larger town. Most towns, good size or large, will have this. Do a little bit of research and find a local barbershop that does straight razor shaves. And that's a great gift to give to a guy. Because most guys nowadays have never had a straight razor shave, and it might scare the crap out of them.
Yeah.
We used to do this every year at Mackerel Expo in San Francisco. On the Saturday, I would get a bunch of friends together, and we'd go to this great guy named Lenotch Tibbet. Wild name. And Lenotch is a certified barber, and he has a shop in San Francisco, and he would do straight razor shaves. Not many people do anymore. They're coming back because they've got these now disposable razors, but he did it with the old traditional way, and he would what's that machine you put them in to sanitize them? Humidifier? No, there's a word for it.
Sanitizer?
They use it in hospitals to sanitize scalpels. Autoclave. Thank you guys. Look at all these smart people. He had his own
guys.
He had his own autoclave, and he did the whole strap thing. It was just he put hot towels on your face and moisturizer. It was so decadent. And I'd go in and say, Lenotch, everything from here up except my eyebrows. I get my goatee shaved off for the first time all year, and all the hair. Loved it. Loved doing it. It was so much fun. It wasn't cheap. It wasn't expensive. It was $75 for the whole thing. If you just want to get a straight razor shave, I think it was $30, which is, okay. It's not something you can do every week, every time you need a shave, but for $30, you can buy one of those. Get a gift certificate for, if it's a buddy of yours, say, hey, we're going to do this together. If it's your husband, here, honey, here's a gift certificate. Go get a straight razor shave. I think it's a neat idea to give to a guy, because guys are generally harder to shop for. Dave D, my mani-pedi is that much. If he likes mani-pedis, you could buy him a mani-pedi. I say I don't, because I can't stand people touching my feet. I don't want to see my feet. I don't want to see your feet. I don't want someone touching my feet. I couldn't get a mani-pedi. I do a mani, but I couldn't do the pedi part. Do you ever mani-pedi?
I've only had one pedicure, I think, or two in my life.
No. So that's a gift you could give.
It's a lovely gift to give
a woman in your life. Mani-pedi. And I don't know if you agree with me on this, but I think women are easier to shop for than men. Sometimes. Like,
depending on the guy.
Yeah, but for a lot of guys, especially if they're, like Monty. You could buy Monty a $100 Home Depot gift certificate. Because Monty's always doing stuff in his house. He's always renovating and doing stuff. So he could always use tools. Don't ever get me one of those, because I don't go into those places without Melissa. I don't go into Home Depot or Home Hardware or Home anything, because I'm useless. But guys, when I say women are easier to buy for, jewelry. Jewelry's always a good thing a necklace, earrings. And my key is, I tell guys this all the time, find her jewelry box and look at the kind of jewelry she has in her jewelry box. Or just pay attention to what kind of earrings she wears, what kind of necklaces she wears. If she wears big, chunky things, buy her some big, chunky earrings. If she wears little tiny ones, buy her some little tiny earrings. You women are so easy. You're so appreciative of little things like that. It's amazing. So much more so than guys. And for guys, don't buy guys ties. Just don't. Unless it's like a cutesy tie he's going to like. He's a Star Trek fan. So you can get a tie that's got all the Star Trek ships on it. Yeah, that's cool. But otherwise, don't bother getting a tie for Dad. He's going to say he loves it, but he's actually not going to.
I've never bought a tie in my life.
You suggested socks.
Well, socks are always a fun thing. We always used to get the boys socks, fun socks.
Fun socks.
I remember when toe socks came in.
Oh
my
God.
God, everybody got a pair of toe socks.
Did they ever wear them?
Oh, they were too fun. They were so fun to wear toe socks.
Well, I think they'd be a pain in the ass to put on, wouldn't
Oh,
they?
no. It's easy.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so there's one vote for toe socks. Now, something that comes up every year.
Sherry loves toe socks.
Really?
And Dave D hates
I'm with Dave D. I think
They're
toe socks. I
fun.
think toe socks are dumb.
There's nothing dumb about them.
Monty says Brad bought his mother a full day spa day a few years ago. Christmas, she never used it, but that's the key. You got to know if the person likes those things.
I wonder why she didn't use it.
Maybe she doesn't like spas. Maybe she's like me and doesn't want people rubbing on her. Like, I hate
You don't
massages.
have to have someone rub on you at a spa.
Well, spa is a massage and a mani-pedi.
No, you don't. You go to a spa and you lay around and have saunas and this and that and the other. And if you want to, you can have a massage or...
But that's what I'm saying. Maybe she's like me. I don't like massages. I don't like mani-pedis. And I sure as hell don't like saunas. So maybe that's the thing. So don't buy this kind of stuff unless you know they're going to use it. Unless they've expressed an interest or, just bring it up casually. It was like, Mom, when's the last time you had a spa day? And she goes, oh, no, I hate spas.
I think it's overrated, quite frankly. The last time I went, I just couldn't wait to leave.
Susan says, I bought Greg a tie for Father's Day. He hates ties. He also doesn't like penguins or the color orange. I could not believe my luck when I found an orange penguin tie.
Yeah.
That's just twisted, Susan. That's just completely demented. Folks, later on in our show, in our Starting Point Photography segment, we're going to talk about more travel photography tips. But up next, we're going to talk to our good friend Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. This is your Mac Life. Welcome back, folks. This is Your Mac Life. Thank you guys very much for joining me here this Wednesday evening. On our phone now, we've got our good friend Jim Downplug the Loop at loopinsight.com. Jim, how you doing? Jim? Is Jim there? Have I unplugged Jim? Hang on, Jim. Hang on. I had Jim plugged into the wrong thing. That's why. Hello. There we go. Hello, Jim.
Wow.
No, it was because of the damn iPhone lacking a headphone port. I had to take the... Never mind. Doesn't matter.
Oh, no, all right.
Yeah. Missed last week's show. You had posted up on the Loop at loopinsight.com your iPhone XR review. You were as impressed with it as most other people. What is so impressive about the iPhone XR?
I don't know. I didn't write it. My dog did. What I find so impressive about it is that it's not really lacking a whole lot.
Yeah.
You know, the thing that, I mean, if you go by the, and I'm not going to say cheaper because it's not a cheap phone.
No.
And it's not built cheaply. But usually if you buy the most inexpensive, product in a company's line, you have to basically give up all the good stuff, you know. And with the 10R, you're not giving up all the good stuff. It's still got a great camera. It doesn't have the the zoom camera, and it doesn't have the digital zoom that the XS Max does.
Yeah.
But then digital zoom sucks anyway, no matter what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, I don't use zoom at all because the digital zoom sucks anyway. So, you know, there's a lot of things that are included with the 10R that you just wouldn't expect to be included. You know, I thought it was a great deal. You know,
the one of the things that you said in the review was my biggest question to Apple about the iPhone XR was why. Do you understand more now that you've had it for a while why the XR, or is it still a question of why?
Well, no, I think it'll always be a question of why, because they could have made that same priced phone and put in a 10 megapixel camera and put in, you know, maybe a 5 megapixel in the front camera instead of a 7. They could have, you know, dialed down a lot of the stuff that they put in there, but they didn't. And that is, to me, the big question. Why? Why make this so compelling when you didn't have to? And you could have still made a boatload of money from it. Well, So that question is always going to be there. But the fact is, they gave people in all three models enough power and enough everything, technology in there to do AR and to do, all the things that you want to do. I mean, you don't want to be the person with the iPhone 10R that can't do AR because it's not powerful
Yeah.
enough. They put in the same A12 Bionic chip in there. So, I mean, this is a really powerful device.
I think they kind of had to put the AR chip in the A12 Bionic chip in that in order to do AR, because AR, Apple has said it's the future. They are sort of
Right.
shying away from VR and they're more focused on AR. And Apple is not going to sell any phone from here on in that can't do AR. I may not be able to do it as fast as.
See, that's exactly what I'm saying, though. They could have said, okay, if you want to do AR, buy one of our more expensive phones, but why put it in the least expensive phone?
Yeah.
They didn't have to do that, but they did. And I find that really impressive myself, that they made all three models so powerful. And again, I say they didn't have to on the lower end model. They could have, Apple's been accused all the time of trying to upsell people. Well, here was a perfect opportunity for them, but they didn't take it.
That being the case, is there a danger that Apple has confused the consumers by having three phones that are remarkably close together instead of having that one that was in the motorcycling community, we call it detuned. You can get the same engine will be a 600cc engine, a 300cc engine, and a 1000cc engine, but it's the exact same engine. It's just being tuned differently. And it seems like that's what Apple's done here with the iPhone, at least with the A12, with the internals of it. Is Apple confusing the customer by having three models that are awfully close together?
No, I think people are pretty savvy these days when it comes to phones, because everybody's out there pushing them. I mean, every company has a phone, it seems. Yeah. So, if you look at, everybody knows that the 10X Max is the main one. That's the biggest. And then the 10X, and I think the 10R falls in there at a price that people are really liking.
Yeah.
And I know that being a photographer, you probably won't like this, but how many times does the average person get to take advantage of, the dual cameras and stuff? They do take advantage of it. They just don't know.
They just don't know it exactly. Yeah. And if it wasn't there, they wouldn't miss it.
That's exactly right. So, I mean, do I take advantage of those dual cameras on the pictures that I take? No, I take pictures of beer bottles.
That's right.
So, and most times they're either in my mouth or they're like 6 inches away. So I could draw a picture of it and it would be, just as accurate. Yeah. So I'm not taking advantage of those now. And like I said in the review, there are pros out there that will see the advantages of some of these other features. Yep. But we're not talking about the pros. We're talking about the average person. And I don't think that they will see enough of a difference to warrant wanting to go to the XS or the Max. And now, here's the thing. I think a lot of those people that will buy the 10R will maybe they wouldn't have bought an iPhone. And I think we would have seen that in the numbers, but Apple's not going to release those numbers anymore, so we won't know. But I suppose they never did it by model anyway. We won't know if that is for sure at the end of it all going to be the top selling one.
One of the other issues that I've noticed in all of this is that I think the only real mistake, and even that's not a mistake that Apple could be accused of having made here, is not making the XR a smaller phone. There's a lot of folks out there, maybe not the majority, but certainly a sizable minority of customers and potential customers who don't necessarily want the big giant phones that Apple and almost every other company is selling right now. Do you think maybe they should have taken the opportunity to make the XR a physically smaller phone to serve that end of the market?
I think that is actually one of the pluses of it, because if you want a small phone, then the XS is the phone for you, the 10S. I don't know why I keep calling it the XS, but the 10S is the phone for you. That's the smallest one that you can get, and it feels good in your hand. The fact that the 10R is a little bit bigger is people that are spending that money feel like they're getting more. Mm-hmm. I think so. Here's a phone that's affordable. It still has a big screen. It still has, a lot of the advanced technologies that the iPhone models have. So, it's like they're running away with, they're stealing from Apple or something, I really think it's a good plan. It's a good idea.
Well, especially because as we know, the iPhone XR or 10R is a complete failure. We've been told that by dozens and dozens of pundits and every single tech news site that this is a flop for Apple, and they're going to be going out of business by the end of the year.
They're doomed. There's no doubt.
Absolutely doomed. The stock is in free fall, and
the only reason that they're doomed is because they're so beleaguered.
That's right.
If it wasn't for the beleagueredness, then they wouldn't be so doomed. But here you have it.
As Gruber pointed out earlier in the week, this happens every single year. We have these rumors of these supply chain rumors because Apple doesn't leak as much as they used to, but the supply chain says that Apple is cutting production of this model, they're increasing production of this model, and the tech media falls for it every single year. Every single time. And it's around this time this happens. And then 3 months from now, Apple's going to announce we've sold more iPhones than we ever have in our entire lives. Yep. It's just a mug's game to try to, and it's got to be frustrating for Apple. I think this is why Greg Joswiak came out today with a interview with CNET saying that the iPhone XR has been its top-selling iPhone since launch. I think Apple is trying to do the best they can in limiting the fallout from these idiotic rumors that we see each and every year.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. The same people fall for the same shit every year.
Yep.
And, there's nothing that you're going to be able to do to stop it because it makes for a good headline and good clicks. And it doesn't matter if it's true or not. It's just a source in the chain. Well, Apple could very well be adjusting production because, maybe the 10R is selling so well that they never expected it. And holy shit, we better ramp things up. So is that sure, that's a possibility, but we don't know that.
And I think this points directly to why Apple said at their last investor call that they're not going to be announcing numbers anymore. Is because they know that the media falls for this crap all the time. So they just said, you know what? We were doing you guys a favor before by giving you these numbers. No one else does it, but we were doing it as a favor to you analysts. But because the stock market can't pull their head out of their asses far enough to be able to give us a fair shake, screw you. We're just not going to do it anymore.
Yep. Yep. So now we're not going to get numbers.
The problem is, as we both know, what this means is just going to be even more speculation about this kind of stuff. It's going to be even more people saying, well, I heard from CPD or some other organization who's going to guess at the numbers that Apple's a failure and a flop again. So damn if they do, damn if they don't.
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty safe to say, judging on the past, 5 or 10 years, that Apple will be bankrupt by the end of the year. I mean,
that's right.
Those people are absolutely right.
Yeah, I agree. There's an interesting story over on Medium. I don't know if you saw it. I want to get your take on this. A decade after the iPhone, there's still no good smartphone for kids. Is this a market that maybe Apple's missing out on? An iPhone SE that's, again, to use the term from before, detuned for 12-year-olds and below?
Well, I believe two things. One, I don't think that there is a market for smartphone for kids.
But a lot of kids have smartphones.
Hold on.
All right.
You got to let me finish my goddamn sentence if I'm going to say something. I don't think that there is a specific market for kids, and I have a reason for that. And secondly, kids' phones have been tried before and failed miserably.
Yes.
So here's why I don't think that there's a market for kids, because typically how kids get their phones is they're passed down.
Yes.
So I mean, we're talking kids.
Yep.
They're passed down. The mother or father gets a new phone, and the youngest in the family gets that phone.
Yep.
And the way it goes. That's just the way it goes. The kid, I think. I mean, we're past the days of the Fisher Price or the phone that wasn't. Microsoft tried to do a kid's phone.
Yep.
At one point, we're past all of that. The kids now are so smart. They want to do sometimes the games and the apps that kids use. I don't even know how to use. I mean, I have neighbors that they have two young girls, and one is, I think, 8 and one's 5, and those girls, they can talk circles around me. It's crazy how smart they are when it comes to technology.
Yeah.
So would one of these kids' phones work for them? No, they'd plow through that in a day. There's nothing in there for them.
But
I think they're the norm. They're not.
Yes.
They're not, and they have a big phone. That's what they want. They want, and these are our kids now. As you get up into teens, they may get their own phones, new phones, but I don't think that there's a real market for a kid's phone. I honestly don't.
I think, I think Apple could create the market. I think that's what I'm trying to say is that they're because I now have a 12-year-old, a 13-year-old, and all of his friends have iPhones. And because most parents aren't half as tech savvy as their kids are, parents have generally not turned on parental controls, or they don't know how to limit the kid's access to the phone. So they end up giving the child a phone. Even if it's a hand-me-down, it's still a full-fledged computer with all the good and bad that represents. One of the things I've noticed over the last 6 months is our son Rory has been talking a lot about flat earth stuff, and I couldn't figure out why this was a big deal to him. He doesn't believe it. He knows the earth is round. He's a smart kid, but he's talking about all these idiots in general who believe in the flat earth. I couldn't figure out why it was. Then I read a story about how YouTube is showing in the recommended listings after someone watches a video. Quite often they're showing this flat earth stuff from the flat earthers. So he's watching stuff on YouTube, and then when that's over, he clicks on one of these other videos and he watches these flat earth videos. And that's affecting him kind of positively, but also he's really, really into debunking this flat earth stuff to a certain too much in our opinion. And so it got me thinking with this kind of thing where if any company could, again, detune their OS to fit into this kid niche, it would be Apple. I think they're the only ones who I would trust to do it anyway.
Well, okay. If there was anybody that was going to do it, yes, I would trust Apple to do it. I just don't think that the market is there. I really don't.
Really?
I mean, should they make a phone for older people too? A separate device designed specifically for older people that comes with the AARP app all pre-installed, and
No,
I mean,
come on now. We can agree that children are more vulnerable than old people.
Well, in some cases,
By the time they
I
get
could
to-
make
by the-
I could make an argument that old people are vulnerable too.
By the time they
So-
get to your age, they should know better. Nice. See what I did there?
I see what you did there. You don't see what I'm doing with my hand right now. You know what I mean? I just don't think that there's a market for something like that. I really don't.
Yeah,
should we make a phone for millennials that pings an alarm every half an hour to wake them up? I don't know. That was mean to millennials.
It really was. It really was.
Yeah.
But for me, it's the knowledge that last week our Rory's Xbox account got hacked, and we got nailed. We got nailed for $500 in charges on the Xbox, and it's because Melissa, bless her heart, doesn't understand the technology and doesn't understand about passwords, and they got to be changed on a regular basis and blah blah blah. Somebody in Milford, Connecticut, charged up $500 of Fortnite things on the Xbox, and it's.
Did you get it back?
We're trying to get it back from those assholes at Microsoft, which is not a lot of fun. They actually sent us an email saying there's unusual activity on your Xbox account. 5 minutes later, $500 worth of charges are made. We sent a refund request, and Microsoft said, no, it's not a valid request. Screw you, Microsoft.
Wow.
Yeah, we're still fighting them.
What would be a valid request then?
Hey, no kidding. If you said we've been hacked, and then the hacker buys stuff, that seems to be a valid request, you assholes.
Okay, so just to be clear, I did not buy only Fortnite. I bought 2 racing cars, and I upgraded my NHL roster.
Well, I do that on Rory's account too, so I just hide that and the other stuff he buys. But it's those kinds of things that parents nowadays just aren't savvy enough. Now, maybe the next generation after ours will be. Melissa and I were talking about this.
Well,
we seem to be the last generation who grew up before the internet. The generations now forward grew up with the internet, so maybe they're more tech savvy.
Yeah, but there's going to be something else.
True.
That Rory will not understand when he gets to be our age.
Yeah.
He won't understand because his kids are going to be so far above where he is that they'll have chips installed in their heads and.
It's just one of those things that I'm surprised that someone hasn't made a better effort at. I think part of it's because I do think there is a market for it. Like I said, there is so many kids of Rory's age and generation who are walking around mostly with iPhones. So
yeah, well, you're wrong. So
all right, move on. This comes up every single year, and we have to talk about this every single year. This was a Reddit comment. Why would Apple not offer any discounts on the new MacBook Air? As always, every single year, Apple comes out on Good Friday and says, here's your discounts for Good Friday. And we all look at them going, screw you. You're knocking $10 off a MacBook Air, you rat bastards. Why does Apple do this?
They don't have to.
Exactly! It's called capitalism, you idiots! It's not rocket science!
Yeah, they don't have to give you a discount.
Jesus. I don't understand why people can't wrap their mind around this fact. This is if Apple has announced 2-3 weeks ahead of time, we've sold more iPhones than we can possibly manufacture. Why would they lower the price, you morons?
Yeah, I mean, I keep seeing commercials. Get 5 free Samsung phones. Well,
that's right.
Get one for all your friends and family.
Yeah.
Of course, because Apple's selling iPhones at top dollar,
yep.
and they can't make them fast enough.
I saw one.
It's just crazy.
I saw one deal today that it was buy a particular Samsung phone. I don't know which one it was, and get a 55-inch Samsung TV.
Oh, geez,
that's insane. That's utterly insane. That's the deal. You buy a phone, you get a 55-inch TV for free.
Yep. Well,
now that having been said, there must be a case for me to argue that, come on, Apple, it's Christmas. You could make a little bit less money this holiday season and help folks out like Sly and me and Melissa. She needs a new phone. Her phone is smashed. It would be great if Apple would knock $100, $200 off a phone so she could get a phone, so that Sly could get a new iMac. They can raise the price after Christmas, but at Christmas time, give us a little, help us a little bit, Apple.
Well, you know what? Christmas time is the worst time to do it because people are going to buy it anyway.
I know, but still, it'd be a nice thing for them to do in the spirit of the holidays to cut folks a bit of a break. That's just me. That's just me saying that. I understand why.
Okay, Karl Marx.
Wow, that's good. I like that one. That's a good one.
What is this show called now?
Yeah, no kidding. I posted a story.
Yeah, I get it though, but they really don't,
yeah.
Especially at Christmas.
Yep, I understand.
They don't.
Yep, I completely understand why they don't. I just, like I said, we're in the market for a new phone. Sly's in the market for a new iMac. It'd be just nice if this time of year, just a little bit more of a discount. Because frankly, the discounts they do offer are a little embarrassing. I wish they wouldn't offer any Black Friday discounts because it makes them look a little chintzy by giving these little 10, 20. Here's a gift card. Buy a $1,000 phone. Here's a gift card for $10. You know what I mean? It just.
I get it, but you said it yourself earlier. They don't have to do it.
I agree. This was an interesting story I posted on the Loop last week. Cassette tapes are back. Don't you dare call them obsolete. You read the story, and in fact, cassette tapes are not back, but manufacturers are starting to make more. Have you bought a cassette tape in the last 10, 15 years, Jim?
20, 30? I mean,
you
no.
do buy vinyl though, don't you? I know your son's a big vinyl.
No,
fan.
my son buys a lot of vinyl. Any vinyl that I've purchased was for him for birthdays or Christmas or something like that. But I've been through vinyl. I've been through cassette tapes. I don't need that.
Yeah. Yeah, when I read the story, I thought it was kind of a cutesy kind of thing, but I can't see any advantages that cassette have over MP3s for the average person. Even for the there's always going to be that argument with audiophiles that vinyl sounds better, cassette sounds better than MP3s, and I get the argument because the nature of MP3s, you have to get rid of some sound quality in order to make it compact. But for the most part, the vast majority, 90% of the audience, can't notice the difference between a cassette, a vinyl, or CD or MP3. And I don't think cassettes are coming back. They may not go away, but they're not any more coming back than 8-tracks.
I will tell you this. In order to really hear the difference in vinyl as compared to today's music formats, you need a really high-end stereo.
Yeah.
You're not going to go out and buy a record player at Best Buy and get that high fidelity sound, that warmth that you are. But if you get like a $10,000 stereo system, oh my God, the sound of a vinyl is outstanding.
Really?
It is outstanding. It really is. Now, am I going to go buy a $10,000 system? No. I will download it from Apple Music.
Yeah.
I'm more into convenience. And when iTunes started, I would buy songs that I heard on TV shows.
Yes.
Because usually after the show was over and they run the credits, they would mention what song it was.
Yeah.
I would go onto iTunes and buy that song and think, oh, that's the song I used to listen to, like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I forgot all about it. And I'd buy it. But it's a lot of convenience for me. And, I have a decent stereo. It's not anything wild and great, but it's decent. And, I don't even think I could hear the type of warmth and things that I would like to from an album on that.
Yeah.
I mean, you need a really, really good stereo, and that's what the audiophile said.
Yes.
So when they say, an album sounds a whole lot better, they're absolutely right.
Yeah.
On their gear. But if if you take the average person and put on an album for them, will they hear that? No. On an average system, no.
Yeah, it's not sounding better on a pair of AirPods.
No.
This story comes up on a regular basis. It always cracks me up. I do not know why manufacturers keep doing this. Did you see this story? Samsung is suing its brand ambassador for using an iPhone in public. Did you see this?
No, I didn't. You can't blame them, though. I mean,
Russian brand ambassador for Samsung is being sued by the South Korean smartphone producer for being caught in public using an iPhone 10 instead of the handset she was supposed to be promoting. This happens on a regular basis where they get these people. Oprah got caught doing it. I think Drake got caught doing it, where they say, hey, we'll give you X numbers of dollars if you promote Samsung products on your Instagram or on your iPhone feed. And the whores of celebrityhood say, yes, give me that dough, give me that money, not a problem. And then they post how much they love their Samsung stuff from their iPhone.
Yeah.
It's just the dumbest thing in the world.
Yeah,
it's dumb.
It's crazy.
It's dumb for the marketing company to even say this, and it's dumb for the celebrity to, with one of their usually it's got to be one of their assistants who are doing this. You know, here's Oprah giving away $1,000 of prizes on her show, and the idiot's using an iPhone to send it with.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you heard. I didn't know this part about the endorsement deals, but earlier, I think it was earlier this week, maybe it was the end of last week, Steph Curry, a basketball player here for Golden State Warriors, got in a car accident.
No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, so he was coming through one of the roads, the freeways, and somebody hit him coming out of a tunnel. And it was the other guy's fault. It was, everything was clear and it was fine, and Steph wasn't hurt. But he was driving. Steph was driving his Porsche, and one of those 4-door car type Porsches.
Okay, yeah.
So
the Cayenne,
yeah. So he was driving that, and everything was fine, except Steph endorses. I think it's Nissan.
Yeah. Oh no.
So I'm sitting back looking at the TV thinking, huh. Steph's in commercials, flogging these Nissans.
Yeah.
Where's his Nissan?
Yeah.
Why is he driving a Porsche? So as it turns out, they actually answered that question in the newscast. They said Steph is required to drive the Nissan a certain number of days a year.
God.
And that's it. After that, he can drive whatever he wants.
Yeah, but doesn't that say to consumers, to potential customers, that Steph's only promoting the Nissan because he's been told to? Not that he actually likes it. If he actually liked the Nissan, he'd drive it all the time. But he obviously prefers his Porsche over the Nissan, which I don't blame him for. But
yeah,
it's we have this whole culture of celebrity idolatry, which is to me has always been utterly ridiculous, because that celebrity is really good at that one thing, but they're not better about anything else, and their opinion doesn't mean shit to me. Because Steph drives a Nissan or promotes Nissan, or Oprah does this, I don't give a rat's ass. I'm much more concerned about your opinion about things than I care about Oprah's opinion about things. And even your opinion doesn't matter because you drink Heineken.
Yeah. It's interesting because I do look at what guitar players play.
Yeah.
And some guitar players are endorsed by amps or speakers.
Sure.
But they actually use those things.
Yes, absolutely.
So, when Slash or Zakk Wylde is on stage, they're actually using a Gibson Les Paul. They're using these guitars. Now, are they the guitars that you buy off the shelf? No, they're highly modified.
Sure.
The amps and the guitars are highly modified to their specs, to their liking, and their guitar techs do that for them. So, I mean, is it something that that we can trust? Sometimes, not most of the time.
See, I would trust the person who uses the product that they are an expert in. So when the guitar player talks about guitars or amps, I'll trust him. But when the basketball player talks about sneakers or basketballs, I'll trust him. But when the basketball player talks about cars, he didn't know shit about cars.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
didn't know a damn thing. When my favorite motorcycle racer, Valentino Rossi, promotes Shoei or Arai helmets, I'll buy a Shoei or Arai helmet because that protects his head, so I want to protect my melon too. But
Right.
if Rossi comes out and says you should buy a new Galaxy S9 phone, I said, no, dude, you don't know that shit about phones.
Yeah.
So yeah,
You're lucky. You're lucky you even know how to turn it on.
and he's a pretty smart guy. Now come on, don't be like that. There's no need to be like that.
Yeah.
You're talking about Rossi now. Don't be lippy about Rossi.
Hey, back off. Back off. But let's not do this tonight. Not live. Let's not do this tonight.
Folks, we've been talking to Jim Dalrymple.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
You're wired up. You're in a very quiet place tonight. It's kind of scary.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm in my backyard
It's kind of under the bridge.
with my beer.
Okay.
Well, I call the north-facing girder my backyard.
You get good sunlight back there, do you?
Well, I'm under a bridge. I get no sunlight.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
We'll let you go. Folks, we'll be talking to Jim Dalrymple of The Loop at loopinsight.com. His podcast, The Dalrymple Report, is also available on the iTunes store. Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Shawn.
Talk next week. See you, buddy.
Bye.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about me, but I have literally never given a rat's ass about what any celebrity says about something that's not in their wheelhouse. You know what I mean? It doesn't. Their opinion means less than nothing to me. If Steph Curry says Samsung TVs are the best, I don't believe him. If he says Nike sneakers are the best, maybe I'll believe him. But I know that these people are being paid to say these things. And if you're being paid to say something, I am automatically suspicious of whatever it is you said. Somebody I was having a discussion with somebody about these ad reads that you hear in a lot of podcasts, Squarespace and those kinds of ad reads. And I said that anybody who does those reads is giving up a bit of their own integrity for those reads. That's my personal opinion. And if only because when I was doing a podcast that had a Squarespace ad read, I told the person who ran the podcast, I can't do that ad read in a natural way. You have to write something down. I said, why? I said, well, I've never used Squarespace in my life. I'll just make something up. What? Just make something up. And so I did. So every time you heard me talking about Squarespace on that particular podcast, and some of you know which podcast I'm talking about, I was full of shit. I was literally making stuff up as I was saying it. I've never used Squarespace in my life. I think I tried it out once, but I've never actually used it to create a website. And that was okay with that podcaster. And so if I know I lied about doing it, maybe others are lying about doing it too. And that's why I don't like any of those kinds of reads for Squarespace or Audible. It's different if it's a whole separate section of the show. It's like a literal advertisement. And I'll do advertisement reads for a company or a sponsor. But those live host reads, I don't like them. I never have. Anyway, so that was just my little bit of an advertising rant. When we come back, we'll be doing our starting point photography segment. All that and much more coming up. This is Your Mac Life.
Hello, my name is Melissa King. I'm Your Mac Life's official spokes Australian. As Shawn begins his 25th year of broadcasting on the internet, he has asked me to say a few words to you all. Send money. What? Why not? More? Okay. When you listen to Your Mac Life, you'll notice there are no ads. No. Your Mac Life is entirely listener supported, and not even listener supported via a paywall or a subscription service. It's simple. If you like Your Mac Life, you can pay for it. If you don't want to pay for it, You don't have to. You can still listen. But we'd really like it if you did. On the Your Mac Life homepage at yourmaclifeshow.com, on the top left, there is a subscribe to YML box. You can send any amount you'd like each month automatically from your credit card or PayPal account. It's set for $2, $5, $10 or $15, but you can set it for any amount by clicking the donate button. The best part is you'll barely notice it. It's $2, but it makes a huge difference to us here at Your Mac Life. It means we can pay for website hosting, internet access, new computers and software to run the show on, and so much more. So, if you like Your Mac Life, please subscribe. $2 will make a tiny dent in your wallet, but when enough people subscribe, it makes a huge difference to Your Mac Life. I'm Melissa King. Thank you.
Welcome back, folks. Thanks very much for joining us here on the show. In our starting point photography segment today, we're going to be talking about travel photography tips. As you all well know, we are off to Lisbon, Portugal, the beautiful Lisbon, Portugal, in March 23rd to 30th next year. Looking forward to that trip more and more all the time. Hopefully, we've got a surprise for you guys. I'm going to talk to this company tomorrow afternoon about them packaging up a deal where we could do the same trip except add the city of Porto in it for the same money, actually for less money. So fingers crossed about that. But one of the things that you want to do when you set out on a place that, I don't know, I don't want to say you're not going to go back to, but that you might not go back to, is do your research ahead of time. Know about the places. One of the things that I see a lot of people do, they go traveling without ever doing even the most rudimentary kind of research on the place where they're going. Wikipedia searches, just regular Google searches. You went off to India when you were a wee babe. You were what, 21, 22 years old?
Yes.
Did you do any research ahead of time?
Yes, I have my Lonely Planet book.
Your Lonely Planet guide. Did you read the guide like cover to cover?
I read it a lot.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I did.
And were you reading it for particular reasons, for particular knowledge, or just in general?
In general.
What did you find that it was helpful? I mean, hopefully the Lonely Planet guide was a big help for you.
Well, the thing I was most concerned about was getting from place to place.
Just physically how to get from...
And they talked about safety and,
Yeah.
well, they talk about everything in the Lonely Planet guides.
One of the things that you always do when people talk about traveling is you pack half as many clothes and twice as much money. Mm-hmm. And same with photography. Pack half as much gear. Go ahead and 2 weeks or a month before you actually go on your trip and pack the gear you think you're going to need, and then get rid of half of it. You don't need any more than 2 lenses. For example, if you're a DSLR user, you're going to want a somewhere in the range of a 24-70 lens and maybe a wide angle lens, an 18 millimeter lens. Or if you're a wilderness shooter, if you like landscape stuff, maybe you'll go to a 9 to 18 wide angle lens and a 75 millimeter portrait people kind of lens. But you don't need to bring your entire camera bag. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 lenses. I'm bringing 2 with me to Lisbon. Because it's too much weight. You're going to be, in theory, walking a whole lot while you are there. For us in Lisbon, it means walking up and down a lot. Lisbon is built on 7 hills. There's an area, the neighborhood called the Alfama, which we're going to spend at least a full day in. And the Alfama is very, very hilly, up and down, a lot of elevation changes in the Alfama, a lot of stairs. And you don't want to be carrying around a camera bag that weighs 15 pounds. You don't want to have a backpack that's full of camera gear. So bring just 2 lenses. And just bring 1 camera. A lot of folks will bring, I've seen people have 2 or 3 camera bodies. They'll have a mirrorless camera and they'll have 2 DSLRs of varying sizes. That's a waste of time. Especially if you were going to be going, and Melissa and I have talked about this in the past, the difference between being a tourist and being a traveler. We're going as travelers and we want to experience the place while we're in the place. I don't know if that's a subtle difference or not, but for me, it's a matter of, it's one of the reasons why we've chosen to be just in one city, maybe in Porto, if this deal goes through, but otherwise just in the one city, because Melissa and I both like to settle into a place. I like the idea of going to our hotel, then walking around the hotel for a few blocks, go get a sense of the neighborhood and where the shops are and where's the coffee shop and that kind of stuff. I want us to experience being there and use the photography as memories of being there, as opposed to using photography to record every aspect of being there, which is what you see a lot of people doing. I want us to actually take fewer photographs. It's one of the things that I've learned as I've become a better photographer, is I actually take fewer photos than I did when I was a beginner, because as you gain knowledge of photography, you can get that perfect shot in fewer camera clicks, and you know the shots that you can't get with the gear you have. So you've got a 18 millimeter lens, wide angle lens on your camera. I'm not going to shoot portraits with that shot. I'm not even going to attempt to shoot portraits with that lens because I know they're not going to come out very well. So knowledge helps to know what you're going to bring with you. MacMan says he'll bring his 1855, which is a kit lens, a 28-200, and probably my 10-20. He's Melissa says now you're up to 4. That might be at least 1 too many. But he's going on an epic journey, too. I mean, MacMan isn't going just with us to Lisbon. He's going to London and Paris and a bunch of other places, so maybe he needs that. So pare down your gear list to the minimum you can. One of the things I do suggest, though, adding to your gear list, if you don't have one, is a travel tripod. And I say travel tripod, that's different from a regular tripod. My regular tripod, it's around here somewhere, Melissa's put it away somewhere, is a great big, huge, beautiful, wonderful tripod that goes up to 6 feet. I love that tripod because that means I'm going to hunch down to get shots. It goes up to my height, but I'm not taking that tripod with me. It's too long to carry around. It's too heavy to carry around very easily. It's too much tripod for travel photography. So what I will use is I've got a smaller tripod about that big. It doesn't go up to 6 feet. I think it goes up to 4.5, 5 feet. So it means I'm going to have to hunch down to take photos, but it's a physically smaller tripod. If you can afford it, look for carbon fiber tripods. They're lighter. They're more expensive, but they're also lighter. So keep that in mind too. The other thing you want to do is when it comes to getting rid of unnecessary things, it's the same thing with your photographs. As beginners, you want to focus on just the one thing in your shot. Don't try to capture everything in your shot. Don't take a picture of your husband in front of the pyramid in front of the Louvre, if you know what I mean. Get it down to just one element of your photography. Don't try to cram too many images, too many stories in your photography. There's no need to jam a bunch of things in there. Oh, I'm standing here, so I have to get all of this in. Focus on certain aspects of it. Fill your frame with the image that you want to tell your story with. One of the things that you can never have too many of is batteries and memory cards. I've said many times I don't like 64 gig memory cards. My memory cards are 32 gigs. I say that because 64 gig memory cards tend to not fill up very fast. I know that sounds odd, but they don't fill up as fast, so you leave them in the camera. You forget about them because you think, I can take 100 more shots or 200 more shots. The problem is whenever you leave cards in your camera, you're risking losing those cards. You're risking losing that stuff because if the camera gets stolen, you've lost 64 gigs of memories as opposed to losing 32 gigs on a smaller card. If the camera gets damaged or the card gets damaged from weather, from cold, or from water, you've lost that entire card. I always tell people to try to, each evening after a day of shooting, come home and dump your images off your camera card onto a different device. The problem is maybe you don't want to carry around a laptop. I sure as heck don't want to carry a laptop with me to Lisbon. So maybe that means dumping them onto an iPad or dumping them onto an external hard drive, or simply taking that card, that 3216 or 32 gig card, putting it away in a safe place, and then putting a fresh card in for the next day's shooting. Make sure you write the date on the cards. That way you'll know which ones are which day they are. So that's one option that you could do is buy extra cards. They're fairly inexpensive nowadays. You can get 16, 32 gig cards for about $20 a piece. I would have 4 or 5 of those. I know I've got at least 6 of them in my camera bag, so I'll be bringing those with me. I'm going to want to bring an iPad, if not my laptop, for editing, but that's a personal decision on mine. Plus, I have to teach you guys, so I kind of have to bring a device like that. But if you can get away with not bringing your iPad or your iPhone or your laptop, try to do that. Try to minimize that kind of stuff. There's something tough. This is tough to get across to folks. It's the idea of, when in doubt, take the shot. When you may never get to this place ever again. You may never get to this spot at this place ever again. You may never get to this spot in this place in this light ever again. If you see something that attracts your eye, that makes you stop and think that's a beautiful image, take the picture. You can fix it later in post. You can edit it later, but you'd hate to not take the shot and then find out later one of us took a shot that you wish, oh God, I was standing right next to him. Why didn't I take that picture? There's this spot that we've talked about several times in a Miradus. I think it's the way you say it. Miradus are sightseeing vantage points all around Lisbon. There's like 30 of them all around. But there's one with this beautiful tile work on it and a little step. And I've already got a mental image of the shot I want to take of Melissa sitting on that little step with that tile work in the city and the Taos River behind us. And because I've already got that shot in my head, I know I want to go to that spot. I know I'm going to take that shot. So it's something else you want to do too, is do a Flickr search, do YouTube videos. There's dozens and dozens of YouTube videos about Lisbon, about Portugal, about Porto. Look at Flickr, look at other websites that have images where you can look at those images and go, oh, I really would like to be in that spot. Instagram. I've got a bunch of Instagram locations that I bookmarked, so I can go back to them and see. Not to copy that shot, but a place. Quite often it's graffiti. I love the graffiti in Lisbon. The graffiti, no, is the wrong word. The street art in Lisbon. Some of it is just spectacularly beautiful. And I want to be able to go back to those physical locations and take my image of that. I know I tell people all the time to try to capture images that no one else has taken, or look at scenes from an angle from away that no one else has. But a lot of these things you can't help it. Like the street art, there's oftentimes only one place where you can stand to get all the street art in the shots. You will be copying to a certain degree. The Mirados, where I want Melissa to sit on these steps, I've seen that picture a dozen times, so I'm going to be copying that to a certain degree. But by doing the research, by looking at places, you'll know, hey, around this corner is going to be this view, or down these stairs, or up the Santa Justa lift is this view, or if we go to this hotel rooftop bar, will get this lift. Or there's an area called the LX Factory on one side of the river where you can get some beautiful shots of that beautiful bridge that they have in Lisbon. So things like that. So just on your spare time, just in Instagram hashtags, do an Instagram hashtag for Lisboa or Lisbon, for Portugal, and follow some of those accounts. Same with Flickr. Do a search on Flickr for Lisbon in Portugal and see what kind of things come up there. Dave D says he's thinking of bringing just a 50 millimeter f1.4, no flash, no zoom. That's not bad, Dave. It in some ways it limits you, but in a good way. It limits you to the 50 millimeter is a great lens. It's not a wide angle lens, so you're not going to be going into the Geronimo's Monastery and getting beautiful wide angle shots. But you're going to be, he's with that f1.4 lens, he's going to be able to go into the dark places of the monastery and get some really lovely shots. So going minimal is a good idea. He says monopod walking stick. Dave, have you used monopods or walking sticks in the past? If you haven't, buy it now for Christmas and get used to using it. There's a problem with I have a problem with monopods and walking sticks because it's basically a walking stick with a camera mount on the top of it, and they're great for walking, obviously, and they're great for holding your camera at a certain height. So they're great for the vertical axes. They're not so great for back and forth and side to side because they don't have the stability of a tripod. So if you're holding it, you can tend to drift left and right or forward and back if you haven't had practice using it and keeping it steady. You might also, Dave, want to, I don't know which camera you're running, see if your camera has a digital level in it. My D600, I can turn on a level, so it will tell me whether the camera is straight. Or you could buy one of those spirit levels that sits on the top of your camera. That way you'll know whether you're leaning too far or too back, if that's a concern for you. He says yes, but I'll practice. And with the f1.4, he can shoot at faster speed. That's the advantage of that lens with a very fast, with the 1.4 aperture. It's a very fast, so he can shoot at 1/1000th of a second. So he wouldn't worry so much about that movement because he can capture the shots very, very quickly. That's a good idea. Was there any other comments there? Monty says, I took my 1855 and my 28-200 with me to Bermuda. I never took the 1855 off the camera. I left all my other lenses at home. I shot them almost as much with the XS Max as I did with the Nikon. That's an interesting thing, too. You could, if you know what you want to shoot, you could get away with just shooting with an iPhone or any camera phone if you know what you want to shoot. Something we've talked about many times in the show is stay within the parameters of the camera. Don't try to take dark shots in pubs with an iPhone. The iPhone just doesn't have the capability of doing that. But if you want to take shots, vacation shots, if you want to go up to the Mirados and take a picture of Melissa sitting on those tiles, iPhone can do that easily. If you want to take pictures of panorama shots of the entire city of Lisbon, obviously the iPhone can do that easily. If you stay within what the iPhone can do, you could get away with just using the iPhone on any kind of trip. Knowledge. Like I always say, it's more important what you know about photography than what it is you have when it comes to photography. A great shooter, a good shooter, can get good shots with the iPhone. A bad shooter isn't going to get good shots no matter what camera you give them. So keep that in mind. Any comments? What camera are you taking to Lisbon?
Oh, my phone.
Just your phone?
I haven't thought about it, actually.
Are you comfortable? Melissa and I went out walking at in a little park around here called Cliff Gilker Park. We were playing around with some software and wanted to get some images for the software. I posted up on my Facebook page, my Twitter page, my Instagram page if you want to check it out. The images that you got, were you happy with them?
On that particular walk?
Yeah, on that particular walk.
Some of them, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the images that you didn't like. Do you know why you didn't like them? See, this is one of those things that's important, is to look at the photos you don't like and figure out why you don't like them.
I would say for me, on that particular day, it was an equipment issue. I have a broken phone with a shattered screen. It was raining. I didn't. I
You said you just had a shitty phone.
Well, I mean, I think it's worth talking about.
Yeah.
I wasn't, it was horrible. It was awkward, and I just didn't have a good time because of that.
Because of the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the broken phone, or because it was a 6 Plus? It was too big, or didn't take
Too
good
big.
pictures. Too big.
It's awkward. So I didn't really enjoy the experience very much in taking the photographs. I mean, I took some nice ones.
Did you feel good about the photographs you did take that you liked?
Yeah.
Do you know why you like? Just like figuring out why you don't like photos, you got to figure out why you do like the photos too.
The color and the texture of the forest is always beautiful.
Is this before or after you edited them?
Oh, the one that I have of you with all the trees. I liked it before I edited it. Yeah.
And you did a great job on that shot. Melissa directed me. She said, "Go stand over there, stand like this, stand here, and then you move yourself around. You get closer, and you get further away."
Mm-hmm.
And that's a matter of you starting to understand, or completely understanding composition.
Yes, I wanted everybody to get a feeling of that forest because it's very
very
beautiful.
pretty, yeah.
So, I didn't. I thought about it, and especially because you're so tall and the trees were just sort of represented strength and height, and I thought it was nice to have the two.
I like the fact that you got down at a lower level. You didn't take that picture at 5 feet tall. You got down on bended knee and took a shot in an upward angle, which gave a really neat view of more of the trees.
Mm-hmm. And my uncle wrote on Instagram that it looked like you were a big man holding up the trees.
Yeah,
This is kind of
it's good. But that's I think is something I'm seeing from you, and I saw it in Australia and I'm seeing it all the way through, is you're thinking about your photographs more. You're thinking about what you want to accomplish with the shot, and then hopefully seeing in your mind's eye, and then going, okay, what do I got to do to get what I see in my head? Do I have to make him stand there? I got to stand over here. I got to look behind me. Oh, there's that tree there. So
yeah, there were a few times where I actually was taking a photograph and I did look behind me to think, well, I wonder what it looks like behind me right now. So
one of those keys I always tell folks is every now and then just stop and just turn around and look behind you. For us in that particular park, there's these wonderful winding trails and these bridges, these wooden bridges that give some great, really great leading line shots that for some reason they look different. Well, not for some reason. Excuse me. For us, it was the way the light was hitting the path. I noticed that we walked across one of the bridges and we wandered around. When we came back, the light was completely different because it was from a different angle. We're looking at the light from over our shoulder, and maybe it wasn't as nice there, but coming back the other way with the light in front of us, or vice versa, the light was better. Exact same spot, but the light was just a little bit different. The biggest issue I had with the iPhone was because it was sunny in some places and not in others. In particular, my waterfall shots got blown out. The waterfall was just nothing but white instead of, and even with touching the screen and trying to manipulate the AE the exposure, couldn't get a good shot because when I made the waterfall dark enough that I could see the actual water, the forest blacked out.
It was too dark.
So
yeah.
that was one of
so
those
much
shots.
water too. So the water is all white.
Yeah.
It's pure white.
Folks, as always, you can send us email to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com or Shawn@yourmaclifeshow.com. Got an email from our friend Don Beck. Don said, just wanted to mention that I've always wanted a Mophie case for my iPhone, but haven't been able to justify the price for the Advantage. They are expensive, Don. Just before I heard that they are now your sponsor, I found a Mophie case for my iPhone 6 at TJ Maxx for $12. At that price, I couldn't resist. I'm very happy with it. Good luck with the new sponsor. Thanks, Don. Yeah, $12 for a Mophie case? You snap that up in a heartbeat, dude. Scott Randall says, in view of the discussion of my email on last week's show, this is Scott, formerly of the Long Island Macintosh User Group. He's now in Arizona. I wanted to let you know my decision and why. I think for both myself and my wife, the previous version of the MacBook Air will be the best choice for both of us. For our use cases and for such a small screen at normal working distance from the screen, you can't really see that much of a difference between the Retina display and the regular display. The lack of ports on the new MacBook is a real disadvantage. The benchmarks show a very little gain in speed between the 2018-2017 models. Even though the new keyboard is okay, the old one is still better. Remember, keyboards are subjective, and Don thinks the old one is better. Finally, losing the MagSafe charging port is a feature we would really miss. I will never understand, I do, but I don't, why Apple took away the MagSafe. The MagSafe is one of those things that you don't realize how much you miss it or how much you love it, need it, until it happens to you. Until the cat kicks that cable, until you kick that cable, until something happens and that cable falls out and your laptop doesn't get dragged onto the floor. MagSafe was the bee's knees, and Apple getting rid of it, I think, is a tragedy. Scott says, so considering both cost and functionality, the older model is better for us. I know your Thanksgiving is a different day, but you guys, including your stepsons, have a great one. Regards, Scott. Scott also says, the Apple employee we met at Best Buy told us that Apple will be selling the older MacBook Airs for quite a while to come. Caution, Scott. The Apple employee at Best Buy doesn't know shit. He does not know how long Apple's going to sell MacBook Airs. I don't know what for quite some time means or for quite a while to come means to him, but he has no idea. So don't count on the information you get from a retail employee with regards to how long Apple's going to be selling something, because the retail guys literally have no clue. So don't take a chance on that kind of stuff. You don't want to get caught with the word of a retail guy who actually, in fact, may not know what he's talking about. So caution on those kinds of things. Let's give away some stuff. You want to give away some stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I want to say thanks. This is our final drawing for the Clean My Mac X from the nice folks at MacPalm. So a big thanks to Julia Petrick for allowing us to give away copies of this. So we're going to put this into our prize draw when we get to all the folks that... Remember, as always, you can subscribe to Your Mac Life for $2, $5, $10, $15 a month, whatever you so choose, and that will get you into our prize draws. It gets us $2, $5, $10, $15 a month, but it also enters you automatically into a prize draw. So please subscribe for Christmas. We would love that. Also, because of the Christmas season, if you're shopping on Amazon.com, please come to our website first, yourmaclifeshow.com, and just click on one of the links that I have on the left-hand side. It doesn't matter which of the links you click on. They're all products I think you might be interested in, or stuff that I've bought and like. There's a new 8 terabyte hard drive up there, Kindle, a tripod, DJ Mavic Air, the complete Alfred Hitchcock collection. There's a whole bunch of just weird and wonderful stuff up there. But even if you don't buy that one thing, if you buy something else, we still get a bit of a kickback. So I'd appreciate it if you guys would do your Amazon shopping through yourmaclifeshow.com. So anytime?
Stop.
I'm going to go out to... That's you sent a payment. What's that? Why are my receipts in here? Stop. Okay, get the next one. There we go. No, Jim Dalrymple can't win.
Will I do another one?
I just have to... Somehow this... How has this stuff gotten into... There we go. That was weird. Donald Hall in Lethbridge, Alberta. Congratulations to Donald Hall in probably snowy Lethbridge. We were just talking to Sherry in the pre-show, and she's already got a foot of snow on the ground there in Ontario. And I know Donald's going to have snow, or at least it's going to be very, very cold in Lethbridge, Ontario. So clean my...
Congratulations.
Congratulations to Donald. The nice folks at Zagg, ZAGG.com, are a prize sponsor for the next few months. Once a month, we're going to do a prize draw for Zagg products for Canada and the U.S. only. Unfortunately, the folks at Zagg have put that restriction on it. The first prize draw will be on next week's show. All you have to do is go to the website at yourmaclifeshow.com. Right there at the top of the screen, you'll see an entry form, Friends of YML entry form. Fill that out. Actually, no. This is different for this one. I'm sorry. You have to send me an email at Zagg, ZAGG, at YML. Try again. Have a look on your face. It's like, what are you talking about, you moron? ZAGG at yourmaclifeshow.com. That enters you into the Zagg prize draw. It's a completely different prize draw. So we'll do that for the first time on next week's show. So ZAGG at yourmaclifeshow.com. Now we're going to do a prize draw for the Lonely Planet guide of your choice. Doesn't have to be for Lisbon, but for any Lonely Planet guide. Nice folks at Lonely Planet are letting us give away copies of their excellent guidebooks. You used them for India. I used them for Italy. And I used them for Paris when we went to Paris all those years ago for a Apple Expo in Paris. And great Lonely Planet guides. So again, say stop whenever you'd like.
Stop.
Going to go out to Adolfo Escobedo. It doesn't say where Adolfo is. Congratulations. Oh, that's Arcsign. Is Arcsign in the RC chat room?
No.
Arcsign?
It's really him?
Yeah, it's Arcsign. Well, I'm looking at the name. The email address is Arcsign. Adolfo Escobedo. Lonely Planet. Congratulations, Arcsign. You won a copy of
Congratulations.
your choice of a Lonely Planet guide. Thanks very much. You can enter, even if you don't subscribe to the show, you can enter into all of our random contest entries just by going to the website. This is what I was trying to say before. Going to the website at the top of the page, Friends of YML contest entry form. Fill that out. Once a month, sends an email to me. I drop your name into our prize draw hat, and you can win.
So does that mean that if you're on the chat line, that you're better off not to be on the chat line if you want to win a prize?
What do you mean?
Well, our people on the chat line aren't. Are they in to get a prize?
If they want to be, if they've either subscribed or sent me an email to the entry form, yes.
Right. All right.
You're a big champion of the IRC guys, aren't you?
Well, I just wondered if they had a chance of winning, that they would just go off the chat line for an evening and not worry about the.
Oh, I see. Yeah, they don't have.
But they don't have to.
Okay. You don't have to. I used to do that. I used to make you respond to the emails, and it used to drive Sly nuts.
Right.
Because she thought I was being mean. Because I was saying, my logic was, you can't send us an entry form, and then if you win, have me reach out to you and say you won. You should send me saying, yes, I listened to the show, I heard my name, give me my prize. Because that way it rewards listeners, as opposed to people who just send an email. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But Sly made me stop doing that, so I can't do that anymore. That's it for tonight's show, folks. I want to say thanks very much, as always, to our good friend Jim Dalrymple at The Loop at loopinsight.com for joining us. And thanks to you guys, whether you're tuned in live or whether you're listening in via the archive. As always, our email address on air at yourmaclifeshow.com. Our prize draw address for the ZAG stuff is ZAGG, ZAG at yourmaclifeshow.com. Until next week, I've been Shawn King.
I'm Melissa King.
And you've been listening to Your Mac Life. See ya!
Bye.